utahrealestate.com.
Okay.
So those are the only two statuses that they show. So that's why it won't pull up.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
So it was just changed yesterday. So you may have seen it, the status changed yesterday to off market, and that's where it would have disappeared.
Interesting. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep. Anybody else got any pressing things you want to discuss?
Going once.
Going twice. So I figured what we'd kind of work on tonight is, you know, a lot of us, I think we've got quite a few new agents that are just getting started, may not have, you know, a current listing in place. And a lot of times what I like to do when I want to generate some additional business, and as we've talked about before, this meeting is all about real estate, not team growth or anything. So we want to really focus on how to grow our real estate business and sell more homes. So if you don't currently have a listing right now, or you have one or two and you're looking to just generate some more business, I want to kind of go through something that I do and I like to do, and that's just look for a property that I can treat as my own listing. And it's a good way to really kind of, first of all, it's great practice for when you have your own listing, but it's a great way to generate some buyers as well. And what the first thing you need to do, obviously, is you have to have permission from the agent that you are going to get, that you're going to work on a property. So the way that I do that is when I identify a property and I talk to the agent, I simply ask them, first of all, I tell them, hey, I noticed your property on this address, and I really like this area, and I'd like to try to help you sell it. Would you mind if I do some advertising or, you know, boost the property on my website, etc.? And most of the time agents will say, absolutely, yeah, go right ahead, happy to do that. And generally when I'm doing an open house, and we've talked about this before, I'll do an open house on it as well, and I'll try to work on it like Monday or Tuesday in the early part of the week so I can set up for an open house and do that open house for that agent. Since we're not doing that right now, it doesn't really matter which day that you focus on it. But what I wanted to kind of do is kind of walk you through a little bit more in depth of some steps that you can take to really treat any house as your own listing. Because I can't tell you how many times I've heard agents say, hey, I want to get a listing, and I've got a friend or family member that wants me to list it at a heavy discount, and I just want to see if I can pick up some buyers from that listing. And you know, that's pretty common, because when you have a listing, a lot of times you can pick up buyers through the public sites, but that's only one way. Like your public MLS is one of the best ways to pick up additional buyers that don't have agents. But there's so many different avenues that we can use to generate buyers. So what I'm going to do is kind of run through everything that I do outside of the MLS when I post a property. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. And Jeff, if you want to jump in at any time and just, you know, interject your thoughts, please do. Or anybody else has any questions too. Let's see. Why isn't this working for me? All right. Can you guys see my screen okay? See the MLS?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, perfect. So let's see. I'm going to pull up. So when I'm looking for a property like this, I want to kind of focus on an area that I want to market in and that I want to sell. A lot of times I'll go through and look for a home that's in my area. And a lot of times I'll look for a vacant home as well. Not necessary, but it's just easier to show and easier to go run through the scenario I'm about to do. But let's just start doing some searching here. I like to kind of go in kind of this sweet price range of, kind of where most of the buyers are. So I'm just going to hit 350 to 500. And I want to do a single family home. And you're kind of looking for those general to pull the most amount of potential buyers possible. So I'm going to look in Salt Lake County, and I'm going to do probably like 19, maybe 2000 and newer. And I'm going to go to 2019 actually, just to eliminate some of those new construction homes that might have, that they're just being built as well. And you can exclude them over here, but I'm just going to block out the 2020 homes. And I want a 2-car garage, 3 bedrooms and 2 bath. And you can see my matches are dropping down. So I'm already down to 107 in that price range. And I'm going to narrow it down a little bit more. Maybe do.
Hey, Eric, while you're doing that, I just want to mention that Cody and Audrey, Sydney, those of you that, well, Sydney's been on the MLS, but those of you that haven't been on the MLS and setting up searches like this, I highly recommend you take a class from the board. They have regular classes where they will show you how to navigate the searches. So being brand new and not, Eric's kind of moving around kind of fast and setting up his search or whatever, but don't be too worried about paying attention to what he's doing since you really haven't been in yet.
Are the classes that you can take online, are they available right now?
I'm pretty sure they have made some available online based on the environment we're in right now, but the board always has just a revolving schedule of live classes right here in Sandy. Right now it's a little bit different. So like I was talking to Audrey earlier about the required code of ethics class that is required for new agents to take, and she'll be taking that online. So I'm sure they're not even holding in-person classes yet. So go to SL Realtors and just go to their education tab and see what they got going on. But this is a great one to take from the board. And then Eric and I can help out as well.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, they've got some really good classes on it too. And it kind of teach you a little bit more in depth, things that take a while to learn on your own, just stumbling around.
You guys, if you haven't already, sorry, Eric, just along that same vein, the basic classes, as you're a new agent, it's like, it's so overwhelming. Eric and I are throwing all this training at you, and we're talking about getting leads. We're talking about CRMs and all this stuff. Just like the basic tools, like doing a search on the MLS, doing a CMA, contracts, how to fill out a contract. What are the addendums like? What addendums are available? The board initially is going to be where you're going to want to take those types of classes. Through EXP, obviously, you've got just an onslaught of amazing classes that you can take. But for Utah-specific stuff, Eric and I are going to be valuable tools in maybe helping you counteroffer or negotiate or how to fill out those things. But going to be super, super helpful if you guys create a baseline first. So we're not doing that education unless we do it in a class setting like this, so we can get a bunch of you together and record it and make that duplicatable. But sorry, I think that's just a huge resource a lot of new agents miss.
Yeah, that's really true. I've been to quite a few of them too, just recently, just to get updated and see what things that maybe I can pick up and learn along the way. So it's really helpful. And usually they do them obviously live too, just in Sandy. But yeah, so getting back to this search, I like to do newer listings just so when I'm advertising, it can be a property that's a little bit newer on the market, because a lot of times buyers will start to see the same photo over and over, and they think there might be something wrong with that property, and they don't call on it or they don't look into it a little bit more. And as a side note, sometimes you'll even see agents update the main photo and change it if their listing has kind of gone on for a while and gets a little bit stale, or adjust the price $100 even to kind of refresh that property a little bit. But when I'm looking for a house to advertise, I like to do something a little bit newer. And I know if you guys have been on some of the trainings before, on like my open house training, I'll go about 5 days back because I want a brand new listing that hasn't had an open house on it. So I can also do an open house. But in this case, I'm just going to go 15 days back. So I've got 31 properties right here on this list. Anytime you want to click on search criteria, it'll drop down your entire menu. So you guys can actually see everything I've put in here on this criteria. And what's interesting about this, and we've talked about this too before, is that everything that you put in here is subject to other agents' potential mistakes. So when we're looking for a specific home for a buyer that you're working with, you might not be as detail oriented as far as narrowing down your search, because you want to open up those parameters for possible errors that agents make. But right now I'm just looking for a property kind of in a general area that would attract the most amount of buyers. So I've got active status 350 to 500, single family in Salt Lake, built at least 2000 or newer, but not newer than 2019, 2-car garage, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, at least 2,000 square feet in southeast, southwest quadrant. So basically south of downtown, and 15 days back. So there's 31 listings for me to choose from. And I just go through and basically try to find some that will look good on an advertisement or online, or something that's an attractive property. So I just select all of them, and I'll do, like a client report so I can see the photos. And then I'll come back and get a little bit more detailed as I go through. So I'm just kind of scanning to see what house would maybe look potentially good on an ad.
Eric, let me interject on that.
Yeah.
What you're doing is what a buyer does too, right? You're trying to find something that's appealing because you want the buyers to see it. So you guys pay attention to that when you have listings, because some of these pictures are going to suck. And people are going to scroll past them because it's just not appealing or whatever. So when Eric's saying, I want something that's going to grab people's attention, don't just narrow down your application to what he's talking about. Think about, like, look at that picture. There's a freaking finger in it, for hell's sakes. That was right on cue, right? That's what I'm talking about.
Perfect.
Pull that one up. I want to see what his other pictures are like. Good Lord.
That's the kitchen, apparently, the second photo.
Oh, there's the hall. That's good. My goodness. You guys invest in professional photography. Eric and I can recommend people. But anyway, I just want to make that connection in your head. You're going to be presenting things online yourself. And when you're selling yourself and your skills and your value to your listing people, they're going to know quite well when you point out what you're not going to do. It's like, oh yeah, I've seen those, because they look online too. So you have to set yourself apart. That was
Exactly.
Great. Sorry,
So-
continue your search, Eric.
So at this point, I'm just going to hit the unselect button here. So I'm just going to go pick a few of them. Let's say I like this one. This one's in Draper. That one's actually in Suncrest. That one doesn't look too bad. Just pick a few of these properties that have, decent photos, and take a look at those homes individually. Okay, going back down here. I'm going to pick that one too. That one looks decent. Not my favorite photo there. You can kind of see how much those photos make such a difference, you know, to a potential buyer. I just put an offer on Beachcomber, so I was kind of looking at that one like, I don't know if I've seen that one. That'll probably be good. So once I've got 7 selected, I'm going to come back up here to agent full report. And this will give me the most information about these houses. So all of these are going to be pretty new listings. And I'm going to hit show selected only. So I just get the properties that I want to look at. So at this point, let's just pick a winner. Anybody have any preferences? I kind of like this one down here. That's not bad looking. The one in Suncrest, I kind of like that one. Here's the thing about Suncrest though, is it's kind of a little bit more of a specialized area where people either love Suncrest or they don't want to live up there at all. So it might not attract the most amount of buyers unless you just list it as Draper, right? This one looks pretty good. Let's take a look at this one. So let's say this is the one that I would choose, and this is the one that I want to try to do some advertisement for. I'm going to call this agent, Lori, and I'm going to say, hey, Lori, this is Eric Jones from eXp Realty. How are you? And she's going to say, great, how are you? And I'm going to say, hey, I'm just calling on your 647 East Granite Park Cove property in Salt Lake. I really like the looks of that house, and I love working in that area. And I was just calling, I just wanted to see if I could help you sell it. Would you mind if I did some advertisement and maybe put it on my website, maybe did some advertisement on Facebook? Would you mind if I did that? And I'm telling you, 7 out of 10 agents will say, yeah, of course, go right ahead. And the reason is because it's on all our IDX websites anyway. Like if you have a website and you're running the feed, these properties are going to be on your website anyway. And so it's going to be on, for example, this property is with Berkshire. If you go to Coldwell Banker or EXP or Remax or anywhere, you'll be able to find this property on their website because they're running off that same feed. So most agents will say, yeah, go ahead. So at that point, what I do is I'll say, I really like to do the best possible advertisement for it and really understand your property. Do you mind if I come at a convenient time for maybe that your sellers are out of the property, or if it's a vacant home, can I come by and preview it and just take a look around so I really understand the property? And there might be a little bit more challenge in this time frame what we're dealing with right now, but normally that's obviously not a problem. They're happy to let you preview it and take a look at the house. So you want to preview it, take some of your own photos, take some notes, make sure that you have the information like what's included, like this one has a refrigerator included. Read the remarks, really understand this, and go into the property as if it's your own listing. And once you've previewed the home and you've gone and looked at it, you can actually run a CMA on it. Just do all of your homework on the house, just like it's your own listing. And then you can even have, you can get the HOA information, everything that you need to really promote this house. And then you can do a property boost. You can load it up on KSL. You can put it on Craigslist. Do a lot of different things of advertising to get some buyers on the property. And as soon as I get permission from the listing agent, I just shoot off an email and I just ask for basically, hey, can you just respond to my email so you have my contact information and just that I have permission to do some advertisement on your house. And they'll just reply back to you sounds good, thank you. And that way you have something just in an email just saying that they don't mind if you advertise it. I've done this a lot, and it's really amazing what kind of leads that you can get out of it, and also doing the KV Core $60 boost. Call your lender too. And this is really, really important because when you talk to the lender, go through the process and say, hey, the taxes are $2,028 per year. The HOA is $125. Can you give me just kind of a good credit or excellent credit, what my monthly payment would be on if I do HOA or FHA at 3.5% down, and then also 5 and 20% on a conventional, so you have those monthly payments. So when you talk to a buyer, you can let them know approximately what those monthly payments are. You're really selling this property, but you're also selling your knowledge and the homework that you do for your buyers. Because what you're trying to do is not necessarily sell this house. You're really selling potential buyers on the type of homework and the type of agent that you are, and the extra work that you put in. So does anybody have any questions so far at this point, or any thoughts, Jeff?
No, my thoughts is this is just a brilliant class to be sharing with these guys, because most people in real estate will say, lead with listings, right? Listings create leads. And that's where all the business is. You get one listing, you should be able to get a couple buyers out of that. Well, I mean, how brilliant of you to be sharing with them, hey, you're brand new, you don't have any listings yet, get busy. You can do some work. Advertising somebody else's listing is as good as having your own if you're marketing it properly and people are reaching out to you. So yeah, anyway, it's just great information, Eric.
Yeah, I mean, you treat it like your listing. So let's say you've got a checklist of 10 or 12 things that you do on a home when you list it. One of those is put on the MLS. That's the only thing you're not going to be able to do if it's not your listing. And the property boost is fantastic on KV Core. So you can pull some leads off of that. Make sure you do a little video tour too when you walk through the house. Post it on your Facebook. You can load it up on your YouTube channel if you like. Just do some extra things to let people know that you're actively working as an agent. And this is just treat it as your listing. So if you do a video and you put on your personal YouTube business channel or business channel, and you post some information on Facebook, you can post on Facebook, hey, this is a new listing over on Granite Park. I'm really excited about this house. I love the way they, the floor plan, maybe upload a picture that you took in the backyard or something that you love about the house. And what you're doing is you're letting everybody else that you know and everyone that comes into contact that you're actively promoting a property. So it's possibly going to find a buyer for you for this house, but more importantly, you're going to remind everybody that that you're actively looking and are available to help if they're looking for a different home. So maybe they'll call you and say, hey, could you help me find another house? Or what if you're promoting this listing so well that you get a call and say, you know what, I actually need to sell my house. Could you help me sell my home? And it's not even your listing. So, I really like this method, especially when I'm doing an open house for the owner. And hopefully we're going to get right back to that soon, Jeff. But I would do an open house as well, and do flyers and pull names right from the front door that I can call back later as well.
Hey, let me give you a quick example of when I did this when I was a newer agent, and I didn't have a listing. I got permission from somebody in my office to market his listing, and it was in a planned unit development. So one of those where you drive in the driveway and it goes into 4 different garages, right? Really kind of tight community. Well, I put out flyers. I put out a single property website. I put out some advertising for this property that one of the neighbors found. One of the neighbors found my advertisement of that property, and they were curious about that property because they were thinking about listing theirs. So I set up a listing appointment with them. I was able to go and capture that listing. She immediately referred me to her friend in Sugar House that was thinking of selling their house, and I listed that home, and I got buyers from both of those listings because I was marketing this property. So it works, Eric.
Yeah, that's really cool. I love that. You know, it's funny how you can actually map out how you get certain referrals, and it's kind of mind-boggling how you actually land transactions based on those relationships and referrals. And it makes you realize the better I get at, you know, promoting listings and myself and what I do, the more of those I'm going to get. And we're all here to help people, and we want to do the best job we can for them, because what we do is very important. It's a huge transaction for everyone. So if we take it serious, you know, they're gonna know that we're there to help them, and that's our duty, is obviously to help our clients first above ourselves. So yeah, when I was thinking about what to talk about tonight, I was thinking about, like, you know, all the agents that you know, potentially don't have listings right now or would like some buyers, and what would be the best resource to kind of generate some business. So I just want to challenge you guys this week. Tomorrow, go get your listing. Go find your listing tomorrow that's not your listing, but go find one. If you have to make 3 or 4 phone calls to agents to find someone you resonate with, and it'll say, yeah, I'd love some help on it. Maybe it needs to be a home that's 20 or 30 days old too. You know, someone would, you know, there's an agent out there that would love to have some life breathed into their property. Maybe give the agent some feedback and say, you know, I was actually looking, maybe if you added a couple more photos here, or, you know, maybe I noticed that you had a really nice fountain in the backyard and it was all fenced in. Didn't have anything on your notes there. I think that would be really great to add and help us sell it, because I'd love to sell your property for you. So little things like that, you know, can go a long ways. And so yeah, my challenge is just, you know, see if you can find a property tomorrow that you can treat as your own listing and run with it, and do some of the advertisement on it, and see. I'd be really excited to see what kind of results you guys get over the next week.
Well, you know, Eric, even if you don't have any tangible results, like the example I just gave, I mean, what a win, right? You know, get a listing that refers me to another listing. Now you've got listings out there you get clients from, and it all started from just advertising somebody else's listing. Great win. But you know what? As a new agent, people need to know that you're licensed. People need to know that you're an agent, and they're not going to know unless you get in front of them. You need to interrupt them somehow. You need to let them know. All of you hopefully are going to be reaching out to people and say, you know, hey, I just want to let you know I got my license, in some fashion or another, whatever works comfortable for you, whether you're writing them a personal note, calling them on the phone, sending them a video, email, whatever you want to do, you need to do that. But as they're noticing things that you're posting on Facebook as well, wow, Cody's really killing it. I know he just got his license, but I see him posting a new house every week. I mean, maybe make that a scheduled program, right? What house can I highlight this week? Make it like a scheduled thing you do. This is my highlight of the week. This is my favorite home I showed this week. Favorite home in Draper, favorite home in Riverton, whatever. Come up with something that's repetitive that makes you say, oh, I got to get my property this week. People are going to start seeing you and go, God, they're killing it, right? They need to see activity. So not only is it a great way to get business, but it's a great way to connect with your sphere, people that already know you. And hey, now all these family vacations, all these other photos, every once in a while you're interjecting real estate and you're interjecting a property, maybe even one that they want to share with their friend, right? And eventually you're going to find that those people are going to reach out to you and say, hey, Audrey, it looks like you're doing really good in real estate. My brother's moving. Can you help me out with his house? You know, I see the stuff that you're putting online. So keep that in mind.
Yep. People got to know what you do, you know, it's not who you know or how many people you know, it's how many people know what you do. Right. So you got to have your name out there and be present. And this is a great way to do it. I mean, if you picked it, like Jeff said, if you pick a new property each week and you're just continually working that, you will see, you know, dividends from that of investing in those properties. Even if you didn't go tour it and you were just doing some advertisement for it, you know, you're going to see some results from that by just posting it, you know, once a week. But if you don't have listings and you're new and you're not working with any buyers, I encourage you to go out and preview some homes and look at it as a buyer, look at it as a buyer's agent, and look at it as a listing agent. Do your own CMAs, learn everything you can about that property. Because if you, let's say, maybe you got your first listing or your next listing in 6 weeks. Now, in the last 6 weeks, you've done 6 of these properties that were really just kind of practice, and you're not going to panic when you get that listing or you're writing an offer on a home. You've already started practicing how to do the research, what to look for, and how to put a property together from A to Z and what to look for. And it's really repetition, because, you know, Jeff, I know that you're a much better agent now than you were when you first started. Even though you had a lot of real estate experience as an investor, you're a better agent than you were now. And I'm a better agent than I was when I started, obviously.
Yep.
And the reason is repetition. You start to pick up things as you go from one property and one experience to the next. And you start to naturally create a checklist in your mind. When you see something, you know exactly what you're looking for and why you look for it, because of an experience you've had. So why not start developing those experiences as soon as possible, you know, and multiply how fast you can create those, you know, those property examples in your mind, and, you know, that will help you develop into a better agent faster with your real clients.
No, I like that you referred to it as practice, because think of the comfort level as being a new agent of marketing somebody else's listing where you're not responsible for the valuation. What if this thing sits on the market for 5 months because it's overpriced, whatever? You didn't do any of that research. That doesn't fall on you. You don't have a seller that you're going to disappoint if that listing agent missed the mark. You're marketing a property and you're practicing on how to market and generate leads and get buyers and promote that property, but none of the other responsibility on getting it done for that client falls on you. So you're not worried about days on market. You're not worried about them keeping the house picked up for showings and all that kind of stuff, right? So if you really think about it as practice, then that's truly what it is. And you, Eric, nailed it when you said you're going to be better equipped when it's the real deal. But what better way to practice on something that has no negative consequences, only positive?
That's a really great point too. And, you know, when you think about calling an agent and asking them these questions, if you're a newer agent, I remember it was a little intimidating for me at first. But think about it from their point of view. Let's say this house we're looking at right now, let's say that it's the listing agent's, maybe it's her brother or a really close friend. And she's like, man, I really hope this house sells because it's a really close person to me. And I really care about what's going on in this property and I want to do a great job for them. So think if that was you and you were in that situation and you're listing a property for a friend or family, and you get a call from an agent that says, I love your house. I love that area. I would love to help you sell it. Do you mind if I do some advertisement and see if I can pick up a buyer for us? What would you say? Heck no. I'm trying to sell this thing all by myself.
No help needed.
No help needed. I don't even know why I put it on the MLS. I'm going to do it all by myself.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's, if you look at it that way, you're like, yeah, of course. Why wouldn't an agent want you to jump in and run with a property that you like? So, that's, I've had a lot of success with it, and it's in the past. And Jeff, I'm probably like 80% buyer's agent. I always have been. Most of my listings are referrals from either past clients or my buyers that need to sell a house. So I love working with buyers and picking up buyers. And if you guys start doing this week and you get some traction, feel free to reach out to me if you need help on, scripts or how to talk to those buyers that are coming in, or the agents. If you want some more one-on-one, I'd be happy to help you out on that too.
Wow, awesome. Exciting.
Good. Do you guys have any questions or any thoughts? That's about,
Eric, on that,
yeah.
what's your opinion on doing vacant homes just because of the coronavirus, and would they be more likely to let you kind of walk through those? I know it narrows your search quite a bit, but wouldn't that be, at least for your first couple, a little bit less rejection maybe to let you go walk through it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, right now, actually anytime. Anytime vacant homes are going to be easier to get in and do the preview if you don't have a buyer. But yeah, especially now. And you're right, that's going to narrow down the search quite a bit in most cases.
So I wonder how many you'd have for those 31.
Yeah, there might be 3. That would be my guess, 3 or 4. And the way that you do that is you come all the way down to the bottom on the MLS, and it's going to be under showing instructions, and you'll see vacant. And keep in mind that an agent has to put vacant in. So there could be homes in here that are vacant that just don't show up as vacant. But if you click that, I'm going to have 2. So.
Well, that's great. You still had 2. I mean, Tyler, to your point, maybe you start out this way looking for the vacants, and if you're like, oh, out of those 2, like that's a good one right there, you'd probably choose that one. But out of those 2, if you don't see one that you would want to use, then maybe open it back up and look at the pictures, because a lot of times the pictures are going to show you whether it's staged or vacant. And then that's just part of your phone call to the agent, right? It's like, hey, I kind of looks like this house is vacant. Is that true, or is it occupied? Because I run across properties all the time that are vacant that don't say vacant. And Eric, just before I forget, in the chat, question was, can you give a little bit more information on what you meant by the boost? I'm assuming that's the property boost.
Yeah, so the property boost is through our KV Core website. And basically what it does is it does for $60 through KV Core, you could launch a boost on the property, and KV Core will target users on Facebook that have been looking in that area for homes for sale, and it'll give them a target for that house. So if you were to pick this house, I'll give you some examples here. I'll just pull up my KV Core. Let's see.
So KV Core actually creates the ad for you, Nate. So you're simply clicking a button, agreeing on your spend there. $60, like Eric referred to, is for a week long. And he can go over some of the other features there on why he likes to do it, especially when he's doing an open house, which I think is brilliant, just to kind of show the agent what you're doing. But this is a service through our lead management system that you're not plugged into yet, but I know you've heard a little bit about it.
So I just logged into my KV Core. It's under Marketplace. So you click on Marketplace, and we are going to do a core property boost. And if I just take an MLS number, let's say I just take this property here, and this works for you in Oregon as well. So KV Core is going to be anywhere that EXP is in. So because it ties into your local MLS. So if I click on boost property, actually I'll put it in the address here. So 4457 West Ship. There it is right there. So if I click on this property and I use this selected listing, it'll give me a preview of what the ad's going to look like on Facebook. So right here on the right, this is kind of what it's going to look like. It's going to have some nice Facebook details, and this is a targeted ad towards buyers that are looking in that area, and Facebook users that are clicking on properties and doing searches. So it's a really targeted ad. Usually, with 1 week, you'll get somewhere between 20 and 25 leads per property boost, is what I've found. One note that I will make on this is if you're doing somebody else's listing, always do 1 week or even 3 days. I'd probably do 1 week. It's a better deal. But if a property that you're boosting goes from active to under contract, it will stop the advertisement, and there's nothing that KV Core can do because that property is no longer on utahrealestate.com. Now, if an agent puts it in backup status, it will continue to advertise for you. So one good question, I'm glad that you brought this up, Nate, is when you talk to the agent, you could say, hey, if you get an offer and you put this under contract, do you usually put your homes in backup status or switch them to under contract? Or do you have a feel of what you do on this property? Because if they put it in backup status, it's not going to affect your advertising at all. So, but that's what your property boost looks like. And yeah, we've seen some really good results from that as well, Jeff.
So Eric, you do that boost and someone clicks on it on Facebook, where does it route them to?
That's a great question. So it actually goes right into your KV Core website, which is provided to you by EXP and KV Core. So KV Core is your CRM that we're looking at right here. The leads will actually go into your CRM on your end, on the back end. But what they see is the actual property. When they click on it, it'll come to your website. So this is what they would see, is this property and the photos, all the information on it pulled right from the MLS. And when they want to get more information on the property, they log into your site, and it captures their information, their phone number and email and name, and that's how you can start dripping on them with KV Core. So a lot of times, I'll give you an example. Let's look at a couple that I've done. Let's see. So here's some examples. So Coastal Dunes here, I had 898 impressions, 30 people clicked on it, and I got 13 leads out of it. So you can kind of look and see 10 leads, 9 leads, 23, 10, 33 leads, 1. That was a new construction home. It was basically a lot. Didn't do very well. 28 and 33. So there's some good examples of some good property boosts. Look at that. That's not very long ago. I just did that one a month ago. It's a lot of impressions.
The difference between the clicks and the leads. The impressions are great. A lot of people saw it, but the clicks are people that actually clicked, right? And then the leads are the ones that gave you information on KV Core. So I noticed quite a difference. Maybe go back up, because some of those had a really high. I think you had one that was 25 clicks and 10 leads, almost half, right? So,
yeah, that's crazy.
Right. So maybe you go through your past performance and say, God, what was it about Fort Rose that really made people want to log in and see that? Was it the imagery? Was it the price? Maybe when you're looking for a property boost or another agent's listing to do, you could go back to past performance and, like Eric mentioned, the lot didn't do very well. Don't do one of those. You know, the other one, you know, some of those ratios aren't as high. So 33 clicks and only and 9 leads, that's a little bit less than the 25. 67 and 23, now we're down to a third, less than a third. So that one didn't do as well. But that's a good way to go back and maybe try and duplicate what gave you the success of that lead count.
Yeah, and you know, it's interesting. Pricing doesn't always make a huge difference either, because I mean, all 3 of these homes are over 600, 700,000. Still a lot of leads, and so it kind of. I've seen that whether they're $300,000 homes or $700,000 homes, you're still getting a lot of the same impressions and leads come through. So.
Well, look at those 2 you got right there on Ashley Mesa. They're the same damn street.
Same
One
street.
got same price too, right?
Yeah, they're both 650.
Yeah, 73 clicks, 106 clicks, but almost the same amount of leads.
Yep.
Awesome. Good stuff,
Oh,
Eric.
thank you.
Yeah. So, any other questions, guys? Feel free to reach out to me too, or Jeff or Len, if you want to have some individual discussion about, you know, anything that we ever talk about. Happy to help in that way. But I think this is actually, I know it is. It's just really good practice to get in the flow of things, because ideally, if you're, you know, closing 3, 4, 5, 6 properties a month, you're going to be doing 10 or 15 of these every single month anyway. So if you don't have time to do it now, you certainly won't when you have a lot of clients, right?
Yeah.
So get good at them, you know, start practicing CMAs and previewing homes and understand, you know, the different nuances between properties. And we've talked a lot about, you know, different things to pay attention to, like when you're doing the HOA versus no HOA versus a $200 HOA, and how that affects, you know, people's qualification. But if you talk to a lender, you say, hey, can you run some numbers for me? Just tell me what the monthly payment would be. It gives you such ammunition, and it makes things real. Because when you start advertising a property, say on Facebook, and maybe someone calls you and say, yeah, I'm renting, and, you know, I'm paying like $1,900 a month right now. I've been thinking about buying. Is it a good idea? And you know that the house that they're calling on, and you advertised, if they go FHA, they're going to be around, say, $2,100 a month, for example, or $2,300 a month. And you have that kind of in the back of your mind, and you know the benefits of purchasing a home, like the tax savings, the tax write-offs, the potential for appreciation, and, you know, not being able to have a dog and paint the walls purple if you want. All those things that we know is important about owning a home. But if you have some of that ammunition about, you know, that specific house, it'll help you with other homes too. You know, if you can rattle off some of those things like in your mind, hey, I know if it's a $350,000 house, just like this one, it's going to be about this per month. And you're going to learn about HOAs and, you know, different areas and properties. You want to become an expert. And this is how you do it. And it's by practice, for sure.
Eric, you know what I love about that is when you're volunteering that information, you don't need to wait for that potential buyer to ask you for you to volunteer lending information. You could simply say, hey, well, did you know how much it can vary between an FHA and a conventional at these rates, these down payments, and you rattle off the difference in the payments. And then maybe even you go a step further and your lender gives you the best case scenario for a well-qualified buyer. And then you throw out there, well, maybe, you know, some people's credit's not so great, right? So do you realize that just 1 percentage point is going to change these scenarios? Boom, boom, boom. So you're given a best case, little alterations. I'll guarantee you most buyers don't realize that it can vary that much. You know,
Yeah.
What are different loan products? You know, the difference between 3.5% FHA and 5% conventional, you should point out that difference. And here's kind of like the hook that could be in. You explain that to them. Then your next question is, well, have you talked to a lender yet? Are you working with a lender? Do you have a preferred lender? A lot of times they'll say, well, I bank at America First Credit Union. They'll tell you where they bank, or they'll tell you that they know somebody, whatever. You can always then step in and volunteer. Well, can I recommend to you my preferred lender? I've been doing this for a long time, and I have somebody I really, really like because he takes care of my clients. And everybody should get multiple opinions. Even if you were starting with my guy, get another opinion. You got to compare. 9 times out of the 10, they'll say, sure, go ahead, send me over his contact information. What I found is when I make a successful connection between a new buyer, that maybe usually my new buyers, like you, Eric, are people that I've met off of one of my listings. All my other buyers are referrals. They come to me, they're ready to rock and roll and go. So it's a different scenario. But let's say it's somebody you don't know. When you hook them in and you get them to your lender, and your lender pre-qualifies them, and obviously you're sending them to your lender for a reason, right? Because he does a good job, he's gonna make them feel good. When they decide they wanna work with Corey or Josh or whoever you sent them to, it's almost a shoe-in that you come with them, right? If they have their own lender and they don't go to yours, what do you think that lender is going to do? They're going to recommend their favorite realtor. They're going to say, oh, I met a guy, you know, I called him off of Facebook or whatever. He says, oh, dude, don't go with it. Realtors, there's their, you know, their experience varies or whatever. Let me refer somebody to you. So now their lender just pulled them away from you because they have an agent they like to work with. It's the same way what you're trying to do. You're trying to put them with your lender that you like to work with. So then if you've made a good impression and your lender makes a good impression, you both just picked up a new client.
What a great point. It's so true. And yeah, that happens a lot. But yeah, if you're working with your team, you'll cement that relationship. And, you know, it just reminded me of something that, an agent in Texas, his name's Sean Cochran, and he's with EXP. I follow him on a Workplace a little bit, and he's pretty funny. He's I think he's the singing cowboy realtor in Texas. I don't know if you've ever seen him, but
I've seen him, yeah.
but he's only been in the business a year and a half, and he is killing it. And when other agents say, how are you selling so many houses? What are you doing? Why are you so successful? He goes, well, I do 2 things. I work for buyers. I look for buyers. And I always remember one thing. Say, whoever applies for credit, you know, applies for a loan, buy a house. So when someone says, I haven't closed any houses in the last 2 months, and Sean says, well, how many applications did you have with your lender? That's it. That's the number that you care about. It's like, if you can get 5 or 10 people to apply with your lender, you're going to sell houses. You're going to have buyers. And it's kind of dumbed down a little bit, but like, yeah, you're right. Yeah. If somebody's willing to go look and see if they can get a loan on a house, they're probably going to buy one if they're qualified. So get people to, you know, to go see what their options are and have them talk to your lender, and it'll turn into buyers.
Good
I have
point.
a quick question for you guys about lenders.
Yeah.
I know you guys have had I forget his name. He's come in to speak there a couple times, but how important is it for the lender to be local? Like if I'm down in Utah County, is it pretty essential that, you know, I find a lender that they can visit locally, or can they do it, you know, virtually? Or
Eric, you can give him your answer, but mine is, I don't think it matters. Very seldom do they even meet the clients face to face at closing. So much is done online, including uploading documents, the application process over phone and text and email, that there's not a lot of reason during the process to actually meet with your lender.
You know, it's funny because just a couple weeks ago, I had a closing with Corey, who Jeff and I both use. And he said, I love closings because I get to meet my clients. And if he doesn't go to closing, he never actually gets to meet them. So yeah, it's interesting. There's a lot of lenders local. There's lenders that are local that you'll use that will never meet your clients. So yeah, it really doesn't matter. But I think all the lenders we use, Jeff, are just happen to be local from here. But yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, they happen to be, but that's why I made that comment. As you think about it, it wouldn't matter if they were. I mean, honestly, Jake, the one you're talking about that you've met before is Josh. Corey is another one that we've used. He's been here to the office before. You may have met him, but he hasn't done a class for us here yet. But they might as well be in Nebraska, right? It doesn't really matter. And I love going to closings because I get to meet my clients.
Yeah, that was from Corey. And I know Josh is licensed in all 50 states, so he does closings everywhere. But just find a lender that resonates with you and that you like to use, and that connects well with your clients. And I've used a few different lenders for years, and sometimes I'll kind of read personalities too of the buyers, and I'll send them to sometimes a couple lenders that I think might be more along their personality too. So.
Okay, awesome. That makes sense. Thank you.
Well, Jeff, anyone else?
Have you guys done any of the training on the IntraLend yet?
Sorry, what?
IntraLend?
No, I haven't done any training on that myself.
I did last Friday. I did 2 hours on it. The intro and the app. Way cool. I recommend going to that. It's not in Utah yet, but it is in Oregon, and it's coming to Utah.
Okay.
But it's going to be awesome.
Good deal. Yeah, it hasn't come here yet, but need to check into that and do a couple classes there as well. There's only about 90 or 100 classes online every week, so sometimes it's hard to pick which ones to go to.
Well, with the IntraLend, EXP is going to have their own, or they already have their own, basically their own bank to do that, to be a lender. And we have opportunities to invest as an investor in the company because it's a subsidiary. And you in the app, it'll have the IntraLend for ours, and then you can put in other lenders that you guys like to use, and they'll be invited to join, and it'll still be their own mortgage brokers or lenders, but it's rolled into one. So you just have an app, you put it in there, and it sends all the stuff to one desk, and then it moves on from there. Pretty cool stuff.
All right. Well, thanks, Nate. We got to check that out. Good deal. Well, thanks everyone for coming tonight. Hopefully it was helpful and gave you guys some good ideas and maybe something to work on this week. If you're sitting around and need something to generate some business. But feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions.
Great stuff, Eric. Thanks.
Hey, thanks so much, everybody. And we'll see you real soon.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Good to see everybody. Welcome, Cody.
Good
Thank you.
night. Thanks.